Hey everyone, welcome to Aerobic AF. I'm Ken.
And I'm Quinlan. This is HYROX Happy Hour, where we cover all things HYROX, race recaps, training takeaways, and the latest from the world of hybrid racing.
Grab your favorite drink and let's get into it. Welcome back, Aerobic AF superfans, and welcome back to ourselves, I guess, as well. Happy to be back. It's been a pretty chaotic, busy month for a number of reasons, and we're happy that you guys are still here listening to us. Sorry about the unexpected break in episodes, but we did have some things to sort out outside of the podcast life.
Outside
IRL,
of fitness life.
There is a lot going on for both sides. We'll spare you of all the details, but just say that we are happy to be back and recording again and hopefully regain some consistency here after what's been just a chaotic stretch for us.
And we definitely have a lot of content to get through, so that's great.
Yeah, well, as it turns out, if you let the content build up for a month, there's tons of stuff to talk about. So
lots of ideas swirling. I feel like there's also kind of a new level of energy and excitement around kind of getting back into it, and our juices are flowing. I can say that.
Yeah, we're ready. So we're just going to start in the obvious place. We just had a big race weekend.
Very big.
Yeah, it was the Ottawa HYROX. So this is going to be a HYROX Happy Hour style episode, sans the drinks this time, but we'll maintain that format. We're going to go through, kind of do our race recap, and then get into some of the big news that's been dropped in the sport this week, including the first elite race of the season being held on a HYROX cruise.
I can't think of anything I'd rather do less than go on a cruise and then do a solo time trial.
I do think it's kind of funny in regards to that, especially with that whole hantavirus thing that just happened on the cruise. It's kind of just bad timing for them to make this announcement. Anyways, all that news later. We're going to start here though. Ottawa HYROX.
This was
big weekend.
Yeah, we were looking forward to this weekend for months for a few different reasons. I think both of us felt like we had some opportunity in the pro solo division to redeem previous results and kind of showcase some fitness that was built over the winter. But we also participated in the relay for the first time, so we were very, very excited for that.
And we both had a doubles race. You were racing mixed doubles, and I was racing pro doubles. So it was a 3-race weekend for both of us.
Super loaded, and we stayed with both family and friends. So it was just a very wholesome and then really aggressive physical weekend altogether.
And first off, I want to say shout out to the One Academy Life team. I have never seen so many of our team logos around in one space. Such a large group traveled for this race. Obviously, the gym is opening up a new location in Ottawa, so this was kind of serendipitous for them that they were able to kind of promote that at the venue.
Show the community there.
Exactly.
I made a spreadsheet so we could figure out when everyone was racing, because there was just so much to keep track of. And something about these races is it feels like a track and field meet, right? It's just starts at 8 a.m., goes till 8 p.m., and there's always someone out on the course doing something. So great opportunity to cheer for people. And even some people I didn't even know were racing. I would see them running around and I'm like, woohoo, you got it. And so it just felt really nice to get support from everyone, give support to everyone, and just be part of that community kind of feel.
And see the way that the community was supporting each other. It was awesome to see. I know that we feel that a lot of the time being a part of a tight-knit Leslieville group in the One Academy
takes a village
community. Yeah.
It's hard. When I went out to Houston a few months ago, I had one of my best friends cheering for me. And,
shout out to Shannon.
Shout out to Shannon. She was doing the most by being my only cheerleader. And I was having a hard day. There's only so much that external cheering can do for you. But it's hard out there when you don't have the masses kind of behind you, because this is a hard race. It demands a ton physically, mentally, emotionally. And so I think everyone who participates in racing it like wants to cheer for other people, because you know how much it means when you see someone cheering for you. And so I felt like it was just kind of this like cycle of giving, receiving. And that feels really good when everyone's just like doing their hardest efforts ever.
Yeah. Expectations versus reality for this one. How did you feel going into the weekend knowing that you had 3 things on the docket? You were feeling good?
I was pretty nervous, actually, because I was doing the mixed doubles race first. I was nervous to go into my pro solo race with some fatigue because it was the next morning. I just knew it was going to be a really challenging back-to-back, but I didn't want that to hold me back from executing a strong like mixed doubles race. And, you know, Jesse and I were able to talk about strategy, and there were areas that I definitely like let him take more of the like bulk of the work to like allow me a little bit of reprieve so that I wouldn't be completely dead for the pro race. But I didn't know how my body was going to recover. And I also think it's tough in this race to kind of know where your fitness is at until you do it on race day. Like, it's different from running. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. So I had a lot of nerves.
I would agree with that. I think this is the first time I've certainly done 3 races in one weekend.
Yeah, the third relay was just like oh God.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a different anaerobic
Super
thing,
fun, but like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think I was feeling similarly. I was kind of more invested in the doubles race I was doing on the Thursday. Felt like probably the A race for me on the weekends. And then I was interested in doing a reset on the Saturday for my men's pro solo. I haven't really raced that one in a while, or felt like I've strung together a good race. So I was also feeling similarly to you, where I wasn't sure how the recovery was going to go or how I was going to be feeling after doing the doubles race and then going to the singles race. I think sometimes doing it the opposite way maybe feels better. I'm not sure. Well, I'm still think jury's out for which way is better, which order.
I've done both now. So I think that one good thing about doing the solo race first is that it is the harder effort and you get that out of the way, but you are carrying a significant amount more fatigue into the doubles race. So you hurt a lot more in doubles. Like, even holding onto the run paces is like very, very hard. And so maybe it's harder physically doing it that way. But I think when you do the doubles race first, at least for me, it was harder mentally because I was trying not to think about it. But during the doubles race, I was like, oh God, I can't believe I have to do this all by myself tomorrow.
I was thinking that too.
I'm like, oh, these sleds feel really heavy. Jesse, care to take it? And he would take it and it was fine. But then I was like, oh my God.
I'm
like,
day.
Tomorrow I have to just do this alone. So it was really tough. But overall, I did not feel as physically sore heading into the solo race. I definitely was suffering from lack of sleep and kind of weird nutrition and not really being, I don't know, as excited as your first race is. But I think it's just a reality of the sport. Unless you're going all in on one race, you're most likely going to be doing a couple races. So I think part of nailing this sport is figuring out how to just get yourself in a state to race multiple times.
I think it was good practice. I think that, to your point, I was very concerned about the performance for the Thursday race, whereas I was more interested in gaining experience and running through a pro solo race on the Saturday.
Oh yeah, I was excited for that too. I think it's always an opportunity to test out a strategy, figure out where you can conserve energy or save a bit of time, make up a bit of time without costing you too much. There's a lot of variables to play around with. So yeah, which is, tough because it might not always lead to your fastest race, but I think you just have to trust the process that, to your point, when you line up and kind of go with a bit of an experiment, you learn something and it leads to higher likelihood that you're going to just nail it on the day that it counts later.
where did you feel strongest in your singles race? Let's start there.
Oh, great question. So I actually felt really good on two stations in particular, the burpee broad jumps, to my surprise, and then also on wall balls. These were two areas that previously I felt like I was just in a huge sufferfest for. And I always felt like burpee broad jumps were just so dreaded. I would, go out kind of harder and faster the first length and then die out and be holding on for dear life. And then wall balls, I felt like every time I got there was a little chaotic. I was panicked and just not getting into a good rhythm. So for this race, I wanted to focus on a bit of a slower burpee broad jump pace and taking those kind of micro rests either on the bottom of the sprawl or when you kind of jump up. And that seemed to work great. So I felt really good about that station. And then on wall balls, I actually did very proactive planned breaks, which helped me stay consistent and not have a 25-second break after I tried to do 50 unbroken or something, right? I think I did 30, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 20.
Yeah.
And that worked really well. So ideally the 10s would turn into 15s or 20s. I think that would be a good thing to shoot for, but they were the fastest I've ever done both those stations, almost kind of just under 4 minutes for burpee broad and then 4.5 minutes for wall balls. So room for improvement, but really happy about those stations.
Yeah. I think that also comparatively, I was also very happy in the singles race with my wall balls.
Yes, you were. You looked really good at wall balls.
Yeah.
It felt like you had a consistent pace and the ball looked like it was just kind of doing its thing, floating up to hit the target, which is what you want.
Exactly. And I also just broke it up into smaller sets this time and was kind of going
inspired by my 10s.
It's not far off. I just figured coming into this one, in the past, what I've tried to do is do a big first set and then just kind of grind out the ends. But I found that actually what that was doing was just blowing out my shoulders, and then I wasn't able to recover from that.
Yeah, and then you're just panicking.
Yes. So this time I came in, I had initially planned on doing 40, 30, 20, 10. I wasn't feeling that great coming into the station, so I was like, I'm just going to try to get, 30 on the first one.
Yeah.
We're going to dump that down a little bit, and then we're going to do 20, and then I'll try to get a second set of 20.
And did you do that?
Yeah, so it was 30, 20, 20, and so then I was at 70, and then I just did
once
two
you're
sets
at 70,
of 15.
it's great.
Yeah, and then just two sets of 15, and I was and that took me home. So that actually felt really good.
Awesome.
With just small little break in between. Really just consistent effort. I was really happy. I ended up getting quite a bit under 5 minutes, which was my goal going in. I wanted to be able to keep that under 5.
Yeah, good
target. That felt really strong. Definitely was probably the thing that I was most happy, I should say, with the outcome of the race. I think probably the most difficult place for me was the sled pull. And that kind of I feel derailed me a little bit. And this is not, this is not anything new, that we know that this station is hard and it seems like it's a constant narrative that the push is hard, the pull is hard. I do find I can grind through a tougher push and it doesn't do as much damage.
Yes, I agree.
But I was a little bit slow there. I was a minute off where my PB was on the push. But on the pull, it was just I think I just did some damage and started cramping a little bit. And it was kind of felt like I wasn't really able to attack the race in the second half the way that I would have liked to, even though I was playing a little bit more conservatively. I felt on the first couple runs and on the ski to try to mitigate that a little bit, because we did have the knowledge going in that these were stations that were causing people problems on the weekend.
Yeah, I've had a couple different reflections about the sleds, at least for me in the last few races. I made a very intentional decision a few months ago to focus on running and to really focus on running and get back to a place where I felt comfortable at 3:45 meant that I was not like fatiguing my legs and killing my legs with strength. I was focused a lot more on, explosivity, power, and maintaining strength. But like, if I'm honest with myself, I did not prioritize strength at all, really, in the last few months. So when I got to sled push and pull, I was kind of like, this maybe makes sense for me. The runs are feeling great. This really sucks. And I agree, I can get through a push a lot better than a pull. But it humbled me a bit. I was like, you know what, this
makes sense.
It makes sense
for where we're at in the training. And to be clear as well, I think that the narrative is getting a little bit tired.
It's an easy out. Oh, the sleds were sticky. It's like, yes, okay, the sleds can be sticky, but also they're really hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do everything well. And I think that the best of the best are figuring it out, and they have years of training and doing isolated blocks where they can focus on one aspect of the race. But the race demands a ton of different skill sets and like levels of aerobic fitness, muscular fitness, endurance.
And also, by the way, one of the skill sets this race rewards is being able to adjust and being able to take the licks and be like, you know what, this is actually hard today, and you have to be able to adjust that plan on the fly, and the race rewards that.
Yeah, like when I was doing the mixed doubles sled push, like in the moment, I was like, oh God, this is so hard. And then I remember hearing you say, it looks like you guys got a really good lane. The sled is moving really well. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, if the sled is moving well and I still think it's hard, I'm like, I think I'm the problem. So, and then when I look back at videos, I'm like, you know what? It does look like I'm moving the sled well, but it hurt. It
looked like you were moving it fast.
My legs were, my legs were struggling a little bit, and I think that kind of got in my head a bit for the solo race of me being like, oh God, I have to do this by myself. And so I made an execution decision to actually pull way back on the runs following push and pull, because I knew I needed to recover from it. It was a hard back to back for me, and it actually allowed me to feel really good on burpee broad jumps, and overall felt pretty consistent the rest of the race. I do think I probably pulled back a bit too much on the runs, because I normally get some faster gains there in my overall time, but live and learn. That was kind of what I did on the day, and I don't regret it, and I would hope I would do the same thing in the future so that I feel like good and strong in the back half.
One thing I thought that went really well for my race was the mental aspect of it. I think that was something that I've been focusing on like quite heavily for the last several months.
Yeah, 100+ days of meditation will do that.
Yeah, it's something I've been very focused on. Yeah, you as well, by the way, which has been like really great to see. But I did feel that even though things were kind of going a little bit sideways as far as like the race plan was concerned early on, I did think that I was able to keep a pretty positive mindset and just say, okay, this is hard today.
Yeah, you didn't let it break you.
Yeah, it's like, this is not maybe the race that I was expecting to run, and that's okay, but we're just going to grind it out. I'm going to try to stay positive. I think I kept a smile on my face for most of it. Yeah, there were some grimaces in there during the stations for sure.
You were smiling on row, and I think that's important because it's the only spot you get to somewhat reset your mindset. And I think when you're feeling good and momentum from that station onwards, it's like a good signal that you're going to finish strong.
Yeah. And I did think the nutrition as well was good. I didn't really feel like energy was a problem. Did have some cramping issues late in the race, but I think maybe I can address that with like some salt tabs or something.
Did you take a gel in your solo race?
Only in the warm-up zone.
Not during.
Not during.
I wanted to take a gel during the solo race, but I ended up taking 3/4 of a gel in the warm-up zone, and then I finished the remaining quarter after sled pull before burpees, and then I got a cramp, and I was like, this is why I don't take gels. And then I went into burpees with a cramp. I was like, oh my God.
In hindsight, maybe what I should have done is hit the electrolytes, but I was hitting the water pretty heavily. I think it was just kind of, that's something that just happens. Like, I think it kind of reared its head. There was one point in the sled pull where my rope actually got kind of wrapped around another sled.
The rope management was annoying. Yeah. I had issues with the rope too.
And so did our friends.
I saw
they
other
got a
people.
Penalty. Our friends Dana and Jake got a penalty because of their rope was like around a sled, and then they were fixing it, and they were like, "There's 2 hands on the rope." And it was kind of like, "Come on."
Yeah,
that's not the spirit of the rule.
It happened to me in the relay as well. My rope was caught on the girl beside me on her sled. She was pulling it, so it wasn't like I was pulling double weight, but I'm like, am I allowed to just go run and undo this? I'm like, I don't really know. So I was just yelling at the judges, being like, can someone help me? Can someone help me? And then they did. But then, yeah, I think it's sometimes when you pull the sled past the lane, it gets a little messed up with the rope, and then the rope wraps around it. So I was paying more attention to that, of just like untangling the rope before I ran down the lane.
Yeah, I think the issue that I had was when I was uncoiling it, they actually never put anybody in the lane beside me. They started just like sending them all down the chute.
Yeah, you were right at the end.
So I was at the end, and so the sled beside me never moved. So then I went down one length and then went down the other length, but then because the other sled was still there, the rope kind of got wrapped around it. And then when I was trying to pull it back, it wouldn't cross the line because it was wrapped around the other sled. Did you yell at a judge
to get it, or how did you?
Well, I didn't realize that that's what was happening. I was like, why is this sled not moving? And that's kind of where I blew out my quads trying to pull it across this line. But then I was like, what's going on? And then I looked down the lane and saw that it was wrapped around. At that point, a judge had realized it too. And was over trying to kind of like untangle it.
Equipment malfunction is frustrating for sure. And I mean, every time I have a grievance with the race or something that happened, I try to remind myself that this is kind of part of it.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously it's annoying and frustrating, but this is why I think it's also a numbers game. I think this type of race rewards racing a lot. I think that's why the point system...
It rewards experience.
Yeah, the point system is going to work really well because people should be racing a lot, I think, to get it right. There's a lot of ways you can approach the race.
There is a lot of ways
and
that you can approach the race.
And there's kind of some luck involved. Like, whether we want to admit it or not, we know that certain things matter in the race, and one of them being also how busy the course itself is. Like, I don't know, sometimes you're released within a huge amount of people versus getting to race at maybe a later time or earlier time. There's so much that are dependent on external factors, which is part of sport. It's part of sport. We can't argue that. But I think that if I were to race 3 weekends in a row, I'd probably have 3 very different times, and my fitness would be
more or less the same. How do you feel about the doubles race? Where did you feel strongest there?
Oh, our running felt so smooth.
You guys looked really good.
So fast, and we ran faster than we did in Toronto. Toronto was a very crowded race. I think we can say a lot about the different courses, but something that we were concerned about with this course was that it was going to be slow because it was more laps.
Yeah.
Which means that you can't get as much momentum on the straightaways. But I actually think the course was not bad, and I think it was set up very well for doubles specifically because it was tighter. So you still got 2 really solid straightaways. The turns on the ends were a bit tight, but that was okay. And then when you actually look at the fact that it was 3 lengths of burpees, 4 lengths of lunges.
The only one that was slower was the farmers.
Yeah, the farmers was way too many turns, and that was annoying.
It ends up being 8 turns or something.
Yeah, and that just adds unnecessary needing to stabilize. But I think for burpees and lunges, it was created these natural moments of transition where you could do a lane or half a lane yourself, and it broke it up nicely. At least I thought that was how I chose to look at it. And I think that all courses have, good and bad about them, but I didn't mind this course at all. I actually thought it was pretty neutral, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it got a little bit of a bad rap.
It did. Everyone's like, it's so slow. I'm like, is it? Like, I don't know. The solo women's pro time that won was an hour something. And she has been a consistent 1 hour athlete for the last like 3 races, Rachel Wade. And then Rich Ryan ran a 55-minute race. I think there was a consistent narrative that people felt fast and they wanted to see a faster time. I mean, myself included. But I don't think it was like that slow.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess the argument would be, it seems like the top athletes were still able to perform pretty well.
Yeah.
Like maybe Ryan might do a 54 on a different course or something like that.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I do think that the top athletes were able to execute still pretty fast times on the course.
At least they were on the Thursday night.
Yeah.
I do think, and
Fred, I think, raced on the Saturday and did a 55 as well. He was 1 second behind Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, I think he definitely has some monster times ready to be unleashed.
Fred?
Yes. He looked very strong out there.
Yeah, talk about a guy that's, not that he came out of nowhere, but we were talking to him after our doubles race on the Thursday. He was like, yeah, I started running 1.5 years ago. I was like, okay, well, hello, aerobic engine.
I think some people just have a natural gift and they unlock it and then just run with it, which is, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you don't have, I guess, until you really, dedicate time to be good at it. I think that for anyone who doesn't have a background in running, it's really critical to focus on running a lot if you want to be good at the sport, and doing that in isolation or alongside building strength, because I think we talked about this before, but there's almost like a point of I don't know the word I'm looking for. It's like limiting gains or limiting returns on how much strength you need to be good at HYROX versus the extra strength that you don't need, that's just adding weight to your body, that's going to slow you down in like the burpees or the runs or other things.
Yeah, it's like you don't need a 400-pound back squat and a 500-pound deadlift to be good at HYROX.
Yeah, you need, once you nail the strength you need, I think then it's about focusing on everything else.
And muscular endurance, aerobic engine, all that stuff.
And not losing the strength, because I think I've done that, but I don't know. I'm not a professional strength builder, maintainer, so I'm still figuring it out.
I will say this doubles race was a little bit different from my doubles race in Miami, because my partner was, I think, a little bit more strength focused versus running focused.
Different skill set. So
yeah,
you have
so
to adjust.
This was interesting because Max is obviously
super strong.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy. I'm probably around 200 pounds. I think he's around 215, 220 race weight. So just an absolute tank.
Yeah.
And I think my partner in Miami is actually a little bit smaller than me. Jules is
You were better matched running in Miami for sure.
Yeah, so it was the running paces were faster in Miami. The station work was a little bit slower. Here, the station work was better, but the running was a little bit slower. But the net time ended up being within 10 seconds of each other, which is kind of funny.
Interesting. And that's why this sport is interesting, because there's so many ways that you can make up time, and obviously running is a huge part of it. And I think that's where a lot of gains can be realized, because it's over 50% of the race. But it kind of comes down to pacing and execution. So as long as you're doing it the way you should based on your ability and your partner's ability, then you can maximize potential that way.
And I did feel stronger during the runs because the pacing was a little bit more conservative comparatively to what I was running before.
To be the faster runner with your partner.
That's the dream. But then the station work, I thought we were very strong on. So I really felt we were focused there.
You guys looked great.
Yeah.
Really consistent, really good race.
Yeah, so that felt really good. What do you think about the relay?
The relay was nothing I thought it was going to be. I did not realize how hectic it was in the transition zone.
Yeah, that was a little crazy.
I was picturing a track relay where there's 4 or 5 people that are lining up to go next, but
there were hundreds of people.
Hundreds, and there were waves going every 5 minutes, and there were full men's teams, mixed teams, women's teams, And there were so many people that were, there's this like red line that you're supposed to stand on when you think your partner is going to come in, but you can't see anything that's happening on the course. All you see is them running.
The wall was a little bit hectic because the way that they had set up is like the main arena was kind of in this side room, and then they basically had a garage door. You couldn't really see what was going on.
We were like timing it, being like, okay, I think it's going to take this person this long to complete the run in the station. But I felt like my mind was just like on high alert, just like not knowing when to go.
I felt like I had the times pretty dialed in.
You were good. You were like the dad of our relay, keeping everyone in check. We're all like, wait, Ken, when are we going? Who's next? How long has it been?
Like, people are like looking ready to go. I'm like, they're not going to be back for 4 minutes. You're good.
I know, but 4 minutes, you're like, oh my God, I need to get to the front. And then you're just like merging your way into the front of the line, waiting for your teammate. And then when they come, you're just going like full, like pedal to the metal. And it's really fast. And like, I was trying not to make the mistake where you just start literally sprinting. I'm like, I have like 800 meters. I need to not like sprint this first lap and fully die. And so when I went out, I was like, okay, just go out faster than your mixed doubles pace, but not so fast that it's going to cost you a huge amount. And then when I got to the sled pull, I was excited because it was the open women's weight, not pro women's weight.
That's a big come up.
But it still felt really hard. And I was like, oh my God, this sled is so heavy. My legs, like the amount of lactic acid that I felt build up was crazy, which is very different from the solo or the doubles race because you're supposed to be managing your lactic and stopping when you feel it build up. But I was just like, I think all of us did this actually. You power through and you do it as fast as humanly possible. But something that I think was different about this race format compared to other relays is that we had to run basically a full lap after we did the station, or I don't know, maybe 250 meters or something. So your 1 kilometer rep was split up at the start and end of the station.
Yeah, it was almost like a 700 meter run and then 300 meters at the end.
So that was kind of hard.
That was very hard after the lunges. I was like, I have jello legs and I'm just going to try to make it back in one piece. It
was funny because when I was doing wall balls, obviously I didn't have to go back out and run. You just finish it there. So I think I ran the least out of our relay group.
Arguably the strongest runner runs the least. This was funny.
And it was the shortest lap too. It was like 2.5 laps. So that felt nice, but I was super stoked with our whole team. I think we all performed really well. We were actually all the most nervous for this relay, I think, than any other race that weekend.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think because we thought we were going to win. Or when you think you have a shot at the podium, it's different.
Yeah, we thought that we were going into that feeling like if we run the race that we're capable of, if everybody does, then we should have a sniff at like a first place podium.
And first overall.
Yeah. And we felt that in our bones. I think that before, it's like you don't want to let your teammates down, and like you want to make sure that you're doing your part for the team to make sure that that goal is realized. So definitely there were some nerves before this one. Like
you threw up before the race.
Yeah. But that's also like, to be fair, that's not like an uncommon thing for me. It's like I just need to get one of them out sometimes, and then
From nerves?
Yeah, or just when I go like in an anaerobic effort, sometimes I'm like, I feel that way.
I think it was because we all had burgers for lunch.
That was also a part of it, probably, but
I did not enjoy the way I was burping and could feel the burger in my body
maybe you should have done the same thing as me.
I should have, but I have a fear of throwing up. I don't like it. So I just stuffed it down. But I'm like, this is not how I want to feel before I'm about to sprint and then go try to do 100 wall balls as fast as I can.
Yeah. So overall, like, the results were really good. We did end up finishing first overall in the relay, which was great. You and Jesse,
51.
Yeah, you and Jesse both finished second overall first age group in the mixed relay, or the mixed doubles, which was great.
Love that result.
Max and I finished second age group, fifth overall in our pro doubles.
Awesome
which
result.
was a great result. For me, in my pro solo race, I finished fourth age group, 33rd overall, PB. So it's like a 109. I did take some time off of that.
Great.
So overall, I think a fourth age group is a great result for the weekend.
It's awesome.
I think that, so all three races, really, really good. Where did you end up in your solo race?
109.27, which is obviously, it's like 3 minutes slower than my time from Vancouver and kind of farther off from where I wanted to be. I was hoping to run like a 106, 107, but I don't know. It's hard to say if the result matched the fitness because I think context is important. It was like a difficult kind of period leading up to the race. I raced the night before.
Yeah.
I was testing out being a bit more conservative after the sleds and pulling back on my runs and really focusing on kind of execution on specific stations. So, and it didn't feel like an A race to me. Like it was really more of a, like, obviously I want to run hard and do well, but my A goal is Sweden still. And I knew that. And so I think that in all, I'm
still
very
finished, I think, 14th overall. Just like
13th or 14th overall, fifth age group. So
that's great.
I feel good about that. And honestly, the part that I was the happiest about was just the race strategy side of it. So I was in a heat on Saturday. The heat that went out on Thursday was much faster and I think had most of the top times of the weekend. So our heat was slower overall. I think some of the girls were struggling a little bit, but I felt really good about my positioning relative to where they were at and, kind of oscillating a bit between station and runs, testing out how to tactically approach the race when you're head to head. So finishing, I think I finished fourth in the heat or top 5 in the heat. So
great.
I feel great about that. And
just looking at the results for the weekend on the whole, it's that's 6 pretty solid races out of 6, I would say.
Yeah, it was really good. I think it's important to look at the big picture as well. It's not one race in isolation, and I do think it's representative of my running fitness. My running felt really good. I also, actually, this maybe is important to note, in my doubles race, I was about 50% zone 4, 50% zone 5, which means that my heart rate was above 180 for half the time. But in my solo race, I was in zone 4 basically the whole time.
Which is great if you can sit there.
But I should be in zone 5 more. When I race in Sweden, to know that I gave it everything I have, I need to be in zone 5. That's where I can sit in a 5K, in a 10K, even a little bit in a half marathon. I can touch that gear. So I did feel, part of me felt like, you know what, this level of control that I feel as I'm racing was very comforting, and it made me have a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the race, and that was important to me this weekend. So no regrets, but I think information is important. I think data is important, and I think that it's silly to only look at the time as a way to measure if a race went well or not.
Yeah, I agree. Pacing lesson for the listeners, I'll go first. You win the ski, you lose the race. I think I was probably the 7th or 8th person into the ski in my heat. Yeah. And by the time I got to the pole, I was none of those guys were anywhere near me. It's you have to understand that this is a long race. It's a demanding race. you should be letting off the gas a little bit on that first run and not be concerned if people are kind of beating you into that ski early, because almost everybody comes out too hot.
Yeah, I came into the ski third. I think I left 7th or 8th. And trust me, when you see girls like running past you who came in after you, that can be very uncomfortable. And it just takes a lot of trust in knowing where your strengths are and knowing that you know this race maybe better than other people, or that they just have a different strategy than you. So yeah, I've also tried to do the same, or did the same. And it allowed me to have a lot more energy in the tank later on.
All right, this is something that we brought up earlier, that there were a lot of announcements that came down in the sport this week about the way that the elite divisions are going to be structured next year, and the first elite race of the year being on a cruise ship, which are now called, I guess, just the Elite Series, not the majors anymore. So the majors are abolished.
No more majors, and it's unclear if there's still going to be regional championships, but they are definitely rebranding to have 5 elite races over the course of the season, where athletes can compete for a spot at the World Championships. I think it is 3 spots per division. And so that's something new and exciting. We know that the first one, as you said, is on a cruise, which I think I said this earlier. I was like, HYROX, it's like Gretchen Wiener's making fetch happen. It's like, it's not going to happen.
They've been pushing this cruise narrative quite a bit.
Why are we trying to make us go on a cruise? Like, I don't know. Maybe if there's people out there who are super excited about the concept of HYROX cruise and doing your performance when you dock into like whatever port you're in, and then you go back out on the cruise, like, I don't know. It seems like a really interesting combination of events. I get seasick, so I will 100% not be participating.
This is not a good event for you.
Awful event for me. And maybe on the topic of the cruise, because I think there's been a bit more information released like last night or the other day about it, is that if you are an Elite 15 athlete that gets invited to the cruise, you don't have to pay for it. It's like
free cruise.
Yeah, I think for you and one other person, they're saying that everyone who wants to watch the race, like if you have an entourage, I'm like, entourage? That's hilarious. I don't have an entourage. But I think for if you have like a coach or physio or like whatever, friends, family.
Do they have to pay for the cruise?
I think so. It sounds like they need to, but at least they need to participate in the whole cruise start to finish. They can't like go to Spain to watch this one race, because there's all these like, it's like you're crossing different borders and customs, so you have to be on the boat start to finish if you want to participate or watch or spectate or anything. And so yeah, unclear how big the boat is. They have talked about that it's like a 2-track like I guess course, so you go one at a time, which feels like it defeats the purpose of a head-to-head elite race. Like, we're just going to watch it like time trial style, and maybe they release athletes like, I don't know, every few minutes or something. I don't know all those details, but I'm very curious to see how this plays out. I'm definitely going to be live streaming it for sure. Like, excited to watch the production, which I'm sure will have high value. But it's
hopefully it makes it way harder for the production side.
It's also the first elite race, so I guess the points will kind of be locked after this season, and then the top 15 athletes after World Championships will get the invitation, and if you decline, it goes to the next person. So I feel like if you're in the top 15, I think you have to go. Like, you're not going, or maybe if you're like a Lauren Weeks or Joanna, I don't know, pick and choose which ones you want to do to compete. But I think some people are about to board a cruise ship, whether they want to or not.
Yeah, for certain athletes, it might be their only opportunity of the season, or their best opportunity.
Right,
like,
yeah.
We talk about the athlete Jack Driscoll a lot. who has just been racking up points.
Yeah, I think
basically
he's top
all
15
year.
right now
Yeah.
for sure, because he's just been winning. And that's really the key of it. You have to be winning these age group races to have a shot at being top 15 or even top 30 for that matter, which is, we'll probably get into that in a little bit, what that means. But like,
this guy was doing the circling the wagons routine before this was even really announced, and now he's being paid graciously for it.
Yeah.
Because he was just doing
Strategy
the North
pays off.
American tour, just winning all over the place. Las Vegas, Chicago, he's in like
Vancouver he won.
I think he was probably in Toronto, was he? No, maybe not.
Boston. He was everywhere, which
he's been doing it.
Pay to play, and it works out if you have the strategy behind getting these points. So yeah, I mean, the Elite 15 cruise, I think it's late October, so that will kick off the 2026-2027 season, and then the next elite race is in London, early December. And I think that's where they introduce the Challenger division.
Yes. So you were talking about this, or we've been talking a lot about this, like over like the weekend and through the week since this announcement. It's basically an adjacent E15 division where they allow an extra 15 athletes in to compete at basically a sub-level on the same grid.
Yeah, because it's now at a point where there are so many athletes that are capable of performing at the best, like at the top level, that 15 athletes just doesn't cut it anymore. And obviously you can only have so many athletes race head to head at the same time. And I do think that's a consideration and why it's staying, Elite 15 for World Championships as well. But this Challenger division offers an opportunity for athletes ranked 16th through 30th as of the cutoff date to participate in the same format. So the Elite 15 grid, which is different from, the normal course that we would run in a race weekend. And what's interesting about this is that if you win the Challenger division, you guarantee a spot in the next elite race. So they are not doing a Challenger division for the cruise, but they will, and probably because it's not head to head, actually, now that I think about it. But when you go to London as a Challenger, if you win that race, then whatever the next elite race in the new year will be, you get a spot there, and you get an opportunity to compete for the, top 3 spots for the World Championship qualifier. I think it's also good because you will get more points when you compete in the elite division. The Challenger division seems to follow the same point structure that the regionals did, which I think is slightly less than what was previously called a major. So, yeah, I mean, the points thing is still going to take some strategy for athletes to figure out, especially those who are already at the top of their game. I think it's going to be important that everyone's like prioritizing the right races to be at, because these elite races get you more points. If you want, like, that's a consideration when the margin is becoming so small between like first and 50th.
Well, we were looking at the rankings, and basically the top 50 athletes almost have maximum points already.
It looks like at least everyone in that top 50 has probably secured a win a handful of times, maybe not all 5 races, but they've either won or been within that percentile of the winner that they're getting those points. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a headache, I'm not gonna lie, trying to figure it out. And I can appreciate that there might be some, as like we talked about, like anxiety even for athletes to be thinking about the time and energy and cost that's associated with being an elite athlete in this sport. It's one of the reasons I'm super excited to train for a marathon next season and just, eliminate some of the noise. Mm-hmm. But as a spectator, I think it's going to make it really fun. And to watch the leaderboard change, media outlets have already started talking about, upcoming races and showing who has a potential to move up in the leaderboard based on their current points and standing, and like who are athletes to watch and who, like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, I think, for the fans.
I think it will, as you're pointing out, it will take a little while for the dust to settle and kind of make it a little bit more clear of what's happening here. It seems like this is just on brand for what the race has been doing this season, which is just making a lot of changes, which I think will be good for the future.
It's just been a whirlwind of, like...
It's hard to keep track of.
Yeah, and for your own goals, like I know for Lindsay and I, we raced our pro women's double race in Miami and we're signed up for Toronto. Both of us, I think, are on a similar page of not wanting or able to travel for a bunch of races next season. But it looks like the goal we had of a regional championship might not even be in the cards, because it's unclear if that's still happening if we're not doing majors anymore. So yeah, I'm sure I think they're going to be up, or I know they're going to be updating the FAQ on the HYROX website over the coming weeks once they get more questions, because there's going to be a lot of questions, I'm sure. But I think it'll be good to, wrap up this season in Stockholm in the next month, take a beat and kind of recalibrate once everyone knows what the goalpost is now.
Because at the very least, it seems like they're going to be making a change to the regional championships. Because this season, the winner of the regional championships did get a bid
to world champs
as a slot. So there was 3 championships. All the 3 winners got in. From this email, it looks like only the top 3 winners at the 5 Elite Series races get to go to the World Championships.
And that would make up 15 athletes, if we do our math correctly.
if we're mathing. It's not our strong suit here, but we try. Running split's very good.
Runner's math more
only.
accurate.
But yeah, so at the very least, it would mean that maybe that's just like an isolated thing where they still do the regional championships, but if you
don't go to Worlds,
you're a regional champ, and then that's it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, everybody would take that. I thought this was actually a great format that they were rolling out, because it does some of the best races we saw. Like the European regional was insane.
Yeah, there is a lot of really talented athletes out there. So I'm excited that we get to now see not 1 but 2 races at the Elite Series. Mm-hmm. I think the Challenger division is going to be really fun to watch, because you are going to be seeing athletes that are up and coming that might not be in the typical elite field every time. But the one other thing I wanted to say is, as the winner of the Challenger division, if you decline the spot to be in the next elite race, it does not go to the second place challenger.
Oh, that's interesting.
They revert back to the leaderboard and take whatever 15th athlete. So it's, win or die.
Win and accept, or you're out.
Good luck next challenger race, and hope no one surpasses you in the points in that interim.
Yeah. Well, it'll be an interesting season for sure. Obviously, we have to get through World Champs first before we start looking forward to all the changes that they're making next year. But it's kind of like a little newsworthy update here.
Very newsworthy.
Yeah. And it continues, as the sport continues to evolve, we'll try to stay on top of it and continue to keep you updated in these
and give our
HYROX Happy Hour episodes.
Hot takes and cold takes on the changes and how the sport is growing, evolving. I mean, I already have thoughts on the multi-day race weekends and how in the pro division, now that we are seeing the importance of a head-to-head race result with the points and not just time, it would be awesome if there could be some sort of standard, okay, on the Saturday night or the Friday night, the allotment for the solo pro or doubles pro is going to go to the top X athletes or athletes that sign up, and they will be probably in the best spot to be getting these points. I don't know. I think that it's awesome to be able to watch the top athletes compete even in your local race. When everyone's spread out across multiple days, multiple heats, it doesn't make for as good of a spectator opportunity. So I think that would be an awesome area to see an improvement. for the athletes and the fans, and give everyone a sense of like where they stand. So I do expect that there will be more changes coming even to the non-elite races, because they're going to need to support the elites in getting these points, right? Like, I don't know. That's just something I was thinking about, because I love watching a head-to-head.
It's great.
Oh, because it came up in Ottawa. Because Rich, Ryan, and Fred were within 1 second apart from each other.
And different days, different heats, everything. Yeah, obviously.
So,
different heats on different days.
Imagine watching them head-to-head and seeing what would have happened. Like, maybe the result would have been the same, but it also probably could have made them both run and perform faster.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a fair point. And I think that if you are going down this road where it is important to them that the results through the weekend is important to them, the conditions also on the course are just different on different days.
They totally are.
So it's like humidity in the venue could be different,
the
like air temperature,
wear and tear.
Exactly. So it does feel like they should
like
try to progress to this way. I'm not sure. We'll just have to wait and see, because I think schematically it might be a little bit more difficult. Like if someone signs up for a Thursday and someone signs up for a Saturday, it's like, well, you both have to race on Friday.
Well, that's why I think it's going to need to be like a pre-decide, like a known thing of like, if
they just
you
do
are
like an elite start time or something.
Yes, like this happens in other races too, where elites start before the like normal crowd of people. And so maybe it's the first heats of the day on the Friday, on the Saturday for singles and doubles, and then you get into the like normal flow of things. I don't know. I'm sure there are ideas being thrown out or options being considered. I think as more elites are, scattered throughout these age group races, it's going to be more critical. Then I think the voices will be louder if there are issues with, well, the sleds on this day moved faster than that day, or, whatever it is. You want to see same conditions, same environment for all athletes competing for points on a given weekend.
Maybe it's just a situation where if you are a holder of like the license or the pro card or whatever it is, maybe that's just a separate heat. And
100%.
if you have the card, you're in that heat, and it doesn't matter if it's like that's like if you have the card, it's like that day that
it gets you into that heat. Yeah, I agree. I think there's head judges that'll be there. I think that's a great idea.
Well, let's text them. We'll email the support team now and let them know. If you got the card, you're racing on this day and this heat, and that's the end of it.
I do think you are supposed to be in the fast heat, quote unquote, if you have the card. I don't know. In Ottawa, what they ended up doing was putting a lot of the faster athletes at the end of their kind of heat, because they didn't want to overstay into 10, 11 p.m. at the venue. So faster athletes were at the end.
And at the beginning.
So they were going to finish within the hour, and then everyone could just pack up and go home.
That's a hilarious thing to do.
I'm like, well, maybe we could try to pack a little less people into the day and solve for that another way.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the venue coordinators, the race coordinators, I'm not staying here till 12 p.m. with the guy doing men's pro at the end of the night. It's going to take 2 hours.
Yeah, that's going to end up winning the event because he's the fastest one here.
Yeah, it's hilarious. All right, you got anything else to add?
No, but yeah, definitely feeling excited to get kind of back into it. This was a good little, we'll call it a podcast rust busters. We reemerge and are alive again. We also failed to mention the fact that we were very sick this week. I think we had some sort of fever or flu.
We had something.
Dare I say COVID, but this has been the first day where we've both felt like we have some level of energy that we can walk around, eat food, and record some quality content for our fave listeners.
Whatever virus we had was not fun.
I've never been that sick in my entire life.
For 3 days.
It was awful.
So, yeah, entire relay team down for the count. We took the white flag, but had to pay for it after.
Suffered for a whole week.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you guys for sticking around. We're definitely going to be more consistent here over the next couple weeks, and we have a lot of really exciting ideas planned for content. In the meantime, stay aerobic AF.